And we're back. It is Sunday morning when we're recording, and we are getting into the good book.
Keep going.
Yay. It, come upon his house and bring thy chimchi to
Oh,
Oh yeah. So this is I can't decide what the title of this series should be because for branding's sake, I want to go with I Hate the Bible because
getting
that's
my
easy.
shawl. Excuse me. I'm getting my.
Yes.
I'm getting my priest gear up.
I think I'm actually
Please
going to put
continue.
up video for this one because you and I have a good like visual thing going on. Keep in mind,
Yeah,
I have not brushed my hair. I am not really awake, and I am not wearing my teeth
yeah, no, it's
right
fine.
now. For
You
those
look
of
good.
you unaware, I am missing my lateral incisors genetically, and I have fake teeth that I leave in the car because that's the only time I have to look good. So
Yeah, pretty much. That's smart. It's like your mask now.
exactly. Like leave it in the
Yeah.
car because that's where I'm gonna need it.
It's
You
what
know?
I do. Yeah. Love it,
But
but you look
I,
good. You look good.
I don't know whether to do I Hate the Bible. I don't know if it would be better SEO if it was just two comedians read the Bible. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean?
One of those
We'll
things.
figure
But
it. We'll see.
we're talking with Genesis again, and I'm back with my man, the Lord Reverend James Neal Wood.
Do you remember? Sorry. It is good to see you all. Blessed be upon you. This is actually Cody Wright's a comic that we do know. He left it here, but I will say, if I would actually say that priests in Philadelphia should wear something like this. It should be Eagles themed, and absolutely, or like fucking Flyers or something. That'd be great. Phillies. This is a Phillies.
Let's go, birds.
yeah. And God, they're together. Birds. I love it.
Yeah, and Carson Wentz was cast out for his wickedness.
Every time. Yeah. And Abraham did become Abraham, much like we got rid of that last coach. Now, listen, he's like every single time he's just trying to get over. Oh,
I guess if they are having in-person services, there is somebody in the city of Philadelphia that is definitely using the Carson Wentz allegory. For those that don't know, Carson Wentz is our quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, who half got us to the Super Bowl and then got injured and has just been half-assing it ever since. And they just got rid of him, and everyone's kind of happy. She's like, yeah, fuck off, Ginger. Get lost.
As Hagar was cast out after giving, so was the Wentz who went forth.
And you know what the funny thing is? Chris Wentz's main sin was not making enough receptions. And unfortunately, Hagar made too many receptions.
If you didn't watch part one, you should watch part one because Hagar gets fucking raked over the coals. Yeah. And then
read your Bible or read it with us. Neil, before we get started, anything to promote?
No, dude, I'm free and clear. Maybe I'll catch me at maybe Comedy on the Crick on Saturdays. Maybe I don't know, but actually, so I really don't know. But March is looking pretty open for me at the moment. So I'm gonna be working on some new stuff. But yeah, no, check out Cult of Us and Drop Tent Media Network. You can get some sweet podcasts on there, including some old stuff from Jesse Bammies.
That's right. The Magical Misery Tour. I need to get that panel you used to have hanging up because I love that fucking thing.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Cool. Well, I'll see you later. But by the way, this is just how stupid this is. We're recording this via Zoom, and then as soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to probably walk over to Neil's house and hang out.
Yes.
But we need to be masked because I'm getting my shot tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah, baby. Good job. Congratulations.
All right. So we left off at there are 50 chapters in Genesis. We read the first 25. Now we're going to read 26 to 50. We will be skimming over some stuff. So, Neil, as always, just chime in whenever you got something smart ass and blasphemous to say.
I will, sir.
All right. There's a famine, but God says, don't go down to Egypt. I'm fucking up already.
Right.
Go where I tell you, and your progeny will hold the land forever. So Isaac takes after his old man and starts pulling the same "my wife is my sister" grift that was all the rage in the 4th century BC Middle East.
Yeah, Tom Hanks is chasing him.
Yeah,
and Catch Me If You Can right now. He's just like, I don't know, maybe he's just my sister. Woo.
Catch Me If You Canin. Woo.
Yeah. Oh, look at you.
Thank you.
Boom,
barely
dude.
awake.
Flyers.
Hat trick.
Hat trick. There it is.
So they mentioned this. It's because Isaac's wife Rebecca was fair to look upon, which means So what are we thinking here? Does Rebecca have a nice ass? Or
Yeah,
maybe like more innocent, girl next door, pretty smile? Or does she have like big rockin' Jew tits,
I hate you.
I'm engaged to a
Big,
Jewish woman. I can
I
say that.
understand. And using the phrasing of her Jewish uncle as well. You got some rocking tits there, babe. Like it's
Well, this is
disgusting.
like, damn, baby, you sure are fair to look upon. Let me
Yeah,
look upon them fair
I
titties.
gotta think about it. I have never been to a fair that I thought looked good. Like not once. It's always been gross. But yeah, I don't. She clearly must have had something going on. I think it was always about the face. I love that you think women back then were showing any like. She was probably dragged in by a fucking rope, covered in wool clothing or something. Like,
you know what's funny? We do get that there is some catcalling in this version. We're not getting there yet, but I just love that. That better be your brother with you, because I'd kill for that fair ass.
Basically, yeah, absolutely. That's basically what they're doing. Like,
damn, baby.
Like, ooh, man, I'm gonna fucking hurt him. I am gonna hurt him to get to you. It's like we could just leave. You could just take her. I don't know why I love it because it just sets up that premise of just like, no, there was no getting out of it. He needed to go there, and because he had to go there, he was going to be killed because she was too hot. It's just like, I love it just for something, because we're assuming that happened probably all the time. That was just like, that was every day.
It happens all the time in this fucking book. So must like. It's like, as soon as there was like more than 7 people, like, I have to kill that guy to get her.
Yeah,
he might stop me from raping her. I might have to kill her. Him.
Yeah, it's like, it must be like them seeing, unfortunately, a homeless person. Like, the thing is just that must happen all the time. She's
hey, man, you got any change? This is my sister.
This is my sister. Please. It's like, all right, man, that's fine. I thought so. Should be. How many people are claiming other things? I don't know. Anyway, it's fucking bananas, and it happens all the time, and it's great.
King Abimelech of the Philistines saw her walking down the street singing "Do-ah diddy diddy dum diddy do," and invites them in. And there she was, and I could only see her eyes singing "Do." Riding a donkey. Okay. So yeah, he immediately invites them in, and Isaac immediately gives out actually, she's my sister. And the king's like, dude, what the? Oh wait, no, says that she's my wife. And the king's like, dude, what the fuck? That way it would have made us look bad. I decree, nobody fuck this guy's wife.
Yeah, right. It's just I love that he has to decree about. I can't imagine this. This is the problem with it's so archaic. To me, it reminds me, I guess, I'm assuming it's like it's like the Lion King, and he's kind of, all the jackals are like, the hyenas are surrounding him, and he's just walking through with a woman. And they're like, oh, okay. All right. No. Everyone back off.
Well, one of the things I've noticed that's confusing is that even though it's every single time I need to pretend she's my wife, she's my sister, because if they know she's my wife, they'll kill me. But then there always comes a point like, actually, she's my wife. And every time they're like, dude, what the fuck? You would have gotten us in trouble.
Yeah, this is a real kind of like Jack Ruby JFK assassination kind of thing. Like, stop being like, we're on a secret thing. Stop talking about it. Like, why are you're constantly giving yourself away? Like, well, I might work for the FBI. I might not. Who knows? Just stop it. I don't understand what he's doing, dude.
And the king feels so bad that he gives Isaac land to till, and Isaac becomes so rich that they have to kick him out for being too powerful.
I don't know what bearing this hat. Like, I don't know what the lesson. I love this so much.
Oh, we have some things in here as we go along. It's what is our Bible lesson we learned from this? Yeah. But we'll get to that in a minute. So while they kick out, Isaac's people just dig wells all over the place, and then God appears and says, "Yo, I rode with your pops back in the day. Now I'll ride with you." Which is a little bit like, it's like in every fucking heist movie. Like, I remember your old man. We did some jobs together. I suppose I could take one last ride for the retirement fund.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, played by Stallone. Clearly in this in this movie, clearly played by Stallone. It would be. I don't want to, but I guess I'm gonna have to. Like, it's. Yeah,
and then I thought, hey, this place could use some light. I can't do a Stallone.
That's okay. Yeah, I thought maybe this would use some light, maybe, when we go and do it. It'd be good. I don't know what I'm doing either. It's too early, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's still in the AM. 2 hungover comics read the Bible.
Yeah. Oh, this is my nightmare.
And the Philistines came out and basically said, "Our bad. We see you're with God now. Let's be allies." And they had a great feast.
Right.
Okay.
Well, okay. We learned everything from that
And
one.
that's why gay people are wrong. Next part of the Bible.
Prescient lesson. Very, very important lesson on that one.
Well, we actually are getting to something a little gay because it's about two dudes who just can't get along because they're twins.
I think in another story, I could be wrong, but I don't know why this didn't happen. Dress that chick up like a man. I don't know why we don't have like a rom-com
G.I. Jane.
Yeah, like why don't we have like a rom-com fun thing here? I'm just like, I could say she's my sister, or and then grabs a beer.
Fucking Tootsie.
Like, pretty woman walking down.
I'm just in town to buy some grain, bros.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Something about that guy. It's pretty hot. Might have to kill his brother. Yeah, let's get into those two dudes.
So we have Jacob and Esau, which if any of you remember Lost, this was a big plot line of the last 3 not very good seasons.
Also, rest in peace. I'm so sorry that you remember Lost.
Yes. Moment of silence. So they were twins. They were always fighting. According to Rebecca, they were even fighting in utero, just like duking it out in the fucking womb.
I like picturing them as just like, yeah, you stop, like just two of the Three Stooges, like, meow, stop it, monk. Like, just that's how I'm picturing them, just so everyone understands. Keep going.
It's not fair to poke my eyes. I don't have eyelids yet. God told Rebecca, one will be strong and the other shall be his servant. 2 nations are in thy womb. Isaac got old and so the kids are born and then nothing happens for 18 years. This is one of the weirdest fucking things I have ever read, and I was not aware of it. Isaac got old and was going to die soon and asked his son Esau to go kill some deer and bring him venison because he's going to die soon and he likes meat. Rebecca, however, prefers Jacob. So she goes to Jacob and says, Jacob, while he's out getting while he's out getting deer, you go kill the goats and you pretend to be Esau so you can bring him his favorite meal. And so Rebecca wants a switcheroo here. Weird actual line. I rarely take actual lines and quotes from the Bible. Actual quote. And Jacob said to Rebecca, his mother, behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father, peradventure, will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. So Rebecca takes the slain goat skin and makes Jacob wear it like a fucking werewolf to trick Isaac into thinking he is hairy-ass Robin Williams Esau. Even lies and tells Isaac, I'm your firstborn, Esau.
Man, talk about an abusive father. He must not even give it. He never looks up like at all. He's just.
They do mention his eyes are failing. He doesn't have his readers on.
Right. Yeah. Of course. I have nothing to say about this. This is I love how ridiculous it is. And I just, again, now we're getting into some nice, like good old proper rom-com stuff. This is what I'm telling you. Like, we're getting into it. You know what I mean?
No, not only is it proper rom-com stuff, because he's literally like, yes, I am Esau, the firstborn. And what this comes down to is this is a bunch of ancient biblical shit on like, well, the firstborn gets all the inheritance. But what if they're twins?
Right.
So already kind of rom-com. And then when Jacob had to get his inheritance from his brother Esau, he didn't know what he was gonna do.
Then just cut to him fucking brutally killing something and just like,
this will make a good disguise.
Luckily, he walks in and was able to fool him. Coming this Sunday.
And Isaac's like, Esau, is that you? And then he farts because he's old. Jim Carrey is Jacob. But also to add to the rom-com thing, fucking while he's there and he's like, I'm your firstborn Esau, and Isaac's like, whatever, sure, and blesses him and gives him the inheritance, and then Esau walks in and catches them in the act.
Right. Esau must have been furious.
He was. And Esau's like, yo, what the fuck? And Isaac's like, I already gave a blessing. And Esau even asks, like, do you only have one blessing to give? And Isaac's like, I'm old. I'm full of goat right now. I'm happy.
Yeah. I assume that this is meant to teach us that you should, that of the class structure and things that are happening then in the Bible and whatever, and you shouldn't do this. Don't ever try to wear skin of an animal to fool your father. Lesson received, Bible.
I also think Jacob's supposed to be the good guy here, weirdly enough.
I
We
don't know.
we don't hear much more about Esau, but we've heard
yeah.
a ton about Jacob.
Nah, dude. I don't know. Yes, please write in, religious scholars. Tell me why the fuck I should give a shit about this story.
Exactly.
It is just, I think that it's tomfoolery that's going on back in the archaic time. And it's just like, well, won't they get up to crazy things? Like, this is a fucking episode of Friends that's going to play out.
Wackiness goes biblical.
Yeah. It's pretty great. I really love the idea I'm getting to, just like the rom-com slash with just like, I mean, him gutting and just hanging, like getting inside of it still bloody,
I'm thinking Tom Green and Freddie Got Fingered.
Where's
the deer carcass?
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Carrey just coming out of that rhino, like that's what I'm just.
Am I the firstborn now?
And he comes in all wide-eyed. His mother, it's just like looking at him like, what the fuck is going on right now? He's like, Daddy, Papa, you feel me, right? It's like, yeah, come here, kid. I don't know.
So Esau is reasonably pissed off and vows to kill Jacob once Isaac is dead.
Right.
So we get a little Godfather, like, you're safe as long as our father lives. But then I'm gonna, you smooth-skinned piece of shit, you're done.
I know what you did. I know you wore some of that skin and you fooled me. How dare you?
I know it was you, Jacob. You broke my heart, Jacob. So Rebecca, again, playing favorites. If anything I'm learning from the Bible, it's that parents shouldn't play favorites because that's where all this shit happens. Rebecca tells Jacob, like, I'm going to send you away for a bit to my brother's house to go find a wife because we all cousin fuck here. And that way it gives Esau time to cool off. Just like, lay low, man. Shit's too hot here in the big city. Go out in the country for a bit. So Jacob goes out to his father's territory. On the way, though, he sees God appear on a great ladder, Jacob's ladder. And God uses the same trick he always uses with these guys. Like, hey, I'm your guy. You should follow me. And you know why? You're going to get so much pussy.
Were they not? Was he not? Keep going. Sorry. He does. He's like, you're going to get so much fucking ass, dude.
Like, so look, I want you to look all around you. Going to be covered in your jizz.
Yeah.
Like, generations. All the fucking you're going to do, Jacob.
Oh, Jacob.
I think God's a pickup artist.
Come on to me, Jacob.
It's like, Jacob, look, I know you're a little awkward right now. You're covered in goat's blood still. You got a weird little Jufro and you're awkward. You have whatever the ancient version of braces are. But I'm God. You can call me Mystery. I'm going to teach you how to neg your way into getting women and also their slaves.
Yeah, and this is like a dream, right? That he apparently got. Well, I mean, it says in a dream, God promises.
It's a
Jacob,
vision.
right? Yeah, vision, dream. I'm saying that this is the kind of apologetics that start to happen when you like read some of the things that happen. They'll be like, it was a dream, maybe. It's like, well, I don't know, man. Didn't he believe it 100%?
Yeah.
Like, was he tripping balls? What are we doing here? But yeah, he previously made with that. It's and then what? He marries like Rachel.
We're getting to that.
Yeah.
Again, another thing with the Bible, they love their switcheroos. And much like Jacob just got it was involved in a switcheroo, he will now be switcherooed sevenfold.
Yeah, the Bible is just an M. Night Shyamalan movie. That's all. Just multiple M. Night Shyamalan movies crashed into each other.
So I think that's probably the staying power of the Bible is like people want to pretend it was just the Sixth Sense, and then they ignore all the lady in the water, the village bullshit. So he goes to his uncle Laban and he says, let me marry your daughter, my cousin, Rachel, because she's hot.
I'm also picturing Laban as like a real sexy Spanish uncle. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's going on, baby? You're coming back. You want to have sex with my daughter?
I got daughters to give.
Yeah. I love it. Wait, Laban, I'm here to party.
You got to turn the music up and clear the dance floor when Uncle Laban is in town. All right, I don't pay child support. That's the modern day Uncle
Yeah,
Laban.
Laban has a fucking
Open shirt and a pendant.
oh, absolutely, and he's got like a shack behind his house where there's like a little bar, like a tiki bar. That
Actually, I'm thinking our friend Mike L. Actually,
yeah, exactly. Oh, just ridiculous. Michael looks like Michael looks like now I'm not even kidding. He looks like a 1970s porn dealer. He absolutely, and he's got a gigantic ass as well. So he's got like a porn dealer from up top, just open shirt, gold thing, shaved head, creepy mustache. And then he has early J-Lo butt. So his jeans do what like black women's jeans do on the back, like
oh god,
where belt, like there's that open part of his pants, like that, like it's just like a little cusp. So there's his back, and then like a cusp of the jeans.
It's like when like for car safety they have like crumple zones where there's just like space for it to expand should anything get out of hand, like your ass.
Sorry. So Laban's, trying to get Laban's daughter, right?
Right. So Jacob says, oh yeah, Laban tells him, work for me for 7 years and I'll allow it. 7 years passes, wedding day comes, but it's the Bible. Switcheroo. He has to marry his daughter Leah instead. And it's said that Leah is kind, but you know, she's just fine. She's a plain Jane. Yeah. Plain Leah.
We've all
yeah, you know. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride, except in this case, a bride first.
Or you happen to be going out with like, you know, maybe in high school with a sister you go to school with, and then you find out that another sister that she has like a separate father or whatever, but she goes to another school and you meet her and she's like, Jesus Christ, that's so much hotter.
It's, you know what this is actually the whole thing is he says like, well, what's the deal? I wanted Rachel. He's like, well, Leah's my firstborn. I can't do that. Like I have to marry off Leah first. So, but hey, if you want to hang around for another 7 years, I'll give you Rachel too. So it's basically 10 things I hate about you. Only it's, well, no, you have to marry this sister. 10 things I hate about you. It's my younger daughter can date when my older daughter dates. So he has to find somebody else instead this one is, you have to date both of them.
Yeah. They basically start competing for his affection, right? Right. So they're in, we got a sweet another rom-com going together. And then, but I think I don't want to give the spoilers, right? Doesn't he have, long haired man? I think he gives birth to like 11 sons.
Oh, well, no. We're not there yet.
So sorry.
Here's what happens is he hangs out for another 7 years, 14 years total. Poor Leah must feel like shit. Just like, hey, I'm right here. Like, yeah, but your sister's hotter. Like, but 7 years hotter. Like, yeah, 7 years hotter. Sorry, babe. So he marries Rachel too after 7 years. But now God pulls a switcheroo and makes Rachel barren. Right. So it's like, guess what? You got these two wives now, but only one of them will, be productive with your jizz.
Yeah, what is this, Survivor? It sounds like it's like, well, now they have to complete the next challenge. Unfortunately, that bitch is barren. You're gonna have to go over to the well.
So, Neil, I only have one sister, so I don't know what this would be. But you, as somebody who I know comes from a family with a lot of women, how would your sisters handle being married to the same man?
I hate you for even making me think about this.
At Jenny and Rebecca Wood, or
that would be, they're both Jersey trash, so it would be really bad. It would be trying to compete by
you said you were gonna take me to Jovi. I got tickets to the boss that night.
Absolutely. Who's playing Bon Jovi louder really is probably what it would come down to. It would be pretty bad. And I know the younger sister for my middle sister is weaker, so my older sister would probably just trounce her. Probably be throwing ass around. Ugh, sorry. Anyway, stop making me think about this. I hate you so much. Oh, it would not go well. Let's say that.
So, well, to keep up and compete, Rachel pulls a Sarah and says, hey, Jacob, why don't you fuck my slave Bilhah? Which I feel bad for having this note, but I do have next to it in parentheses, Bila, fat girl name.
Oh, you think? Yeah, but I mean, I'm imagining like plush, thick, like, all in the right places.
I see that. Yeah. Okay.
Bila?
So, but with that, now Rachel's getting knocked up too. So now Leah is trying to keep up, and she's like, hey, you should bang my slave Zilpah. And Jacob this whole time is just like, I mean, if I have to. And he just has 4 wives, 2 of them slaves. Again, the most perfect book of morality that could not be written by mortal man.
Yeah, of course.
And it sounds a lot like, yo, dude, I'm writing this book. Guess what? Dude marries 2 sisters. It's fucking wild. I'd read that book. I don't know. That sounds dumb. Like, could he fuck the slaves too? Yeah, he fucks the slaves too. This is like
from your lips to God's ears.
The Bible written by Tucker Max. Like, did you hear this guy's just fucking everywhere and he's awesome? And he'll wear goat skins to get shit.
Hemingway wrote part of this, I'm sure. Like, it's absolutely. Yeah. And no, he just must be just golden dicking it. Just absolutely just having a golden dick passing that thing around.
Oh, yeah.
Was it? Never mind. We'll look up culture another time. Was it just that often? Just be like, I've got to fuck. I can't help. I got to.
The big angle they keep trying to take here is like, much like now everybody's trying to become a TikTok star. At the time, everybody was trying to like take over these barren hellscapes of the Middle East. Right. And they needed a bunch of fucking kids to do it.
Yeah. And they've learned, unfortunately, too early on that if you're fucking just your sister, the babies come out all weird and strange. So they're like, just throwing pussy at people. And I guess it's just if you had stuff, you could be gross and disgusting. It must have been a great time for ugly dudes. I mean, just spectacular. I got this ox though. I'm like, have any daughter, pick whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Get out here. Like the fathers just become just like, come on now. It's just the cat house. It's fucking delicious.
God.
Here are the prices. 3 chickens.
No. Jacob decides that now that he has all these fucking wives and kids, let's return to his parents and Esau. But Laban is reluctant to let him go. So Jacob, I could not follow this. Jacob does some weird magic that basically involves his cattle taking over Laban's land.
So here, this is how I think Jacob, Laban settles his differences with Jacob, who erects a pillar of stone, right, as a witness to God of their peaceful resolution. And Jacob becomes Jacob continues on and nearing his home. That's just apparently how that, I made it. Basically, it's an art kid project. It's like your summer, it's like your science fair project. It's your science fair project. He's just like, I made a volcano. Good. You guys solid or what's up? Yeah. I think he just goes on then, right?
Okay. Well, but there's a thing where, so they go to leave, but before they do, Rachel steals the teraphim and stuff from her father, Laban's house. And I only put this here. So Laban chases Jacob and demands the teraphim back. Sorry. And they go into Rachel's tent and she's hiding them by sitting on them.
She keisters it. Yeah.
And they come in and they say, stand up. What are you hiding? And again, this is a Farrelly Brothers movie. She says, actually, you don't want me to stand up because my pussy's bleeding all over the place right now. And it'd be so gross and you guys would throw up just because of the pussy blood everywhere. And instead of being like, you lying bitch, you stole something, they're both like, whew, thanks for that warning. Let's go. Good point.
Yeah, back then, if you were on your period, they would like shut women in caves and shit.
Yeah.
They'd just be like, oh, get the fuck away from
I think we get into that in Leviticus where it's like literally, I think women are supposed to spend like 12 days a month not leaving the bath because they're just filthy.
Yeah. And it looks like multiple scenes in the movie The Cell of just like tubs of blood. And she's just laying in it, just passing the time. You know how it goes. Just reading a Cosmo.
Oh, God. The original bath bomb.
Definitely.
Jacob continues to press home, but word reaches that Esau is still pissed and is sending an army of 400 men to fight him. In the middle of the night, an angel comes and wrestles with Jacob. Well, let me tell you something, Jacob. I know you're out there fucking the slaves, but do you have enough to take on Zebekiah the Almighty? So
I'll tell you, brother, I'm a hot ass angel, baby. I'm a hot ass angel. I'm gonna trounce that motherfucker. I'm gonna trounce that shit. I'm a hot ass angel, baby. I'm coming for you. Sorry. Continue.
Let me tell you about hard times, daddy. Hard times. Hard times is when your daddy's gonna give your inheritance to your brother. So you gotta dress up like a werewolf and give him the bionic elbow. Take it in the middle of the night. That's hard times, daddy.
Hard times, baby. You got to go out to under the Israelites. And it's hard times out there, baby. You got to erect some idols, get this shit out of that good woman's pussy. It's hard time.
All aboard.
Man in you.
Let me tell you, she is one fine sister who is definitely not my wife. Oh.
Dun-dun. Pussy blood.
That's gotta be Jacob. He's got a steel chair. Oh, I could just do this all day.
I know, it's so good.
Jacob and an angel, or who might be God, I don't know. They have like a barbed wire exploding ring death match.
Yeah.
And they go to a stalemate. Somewhere in there, this weird details. Jacob dislocates his thigh muscle, and as a result, Jews no longer eat that muscle of animal flesh in tribute.
Perfect. Yeah, no, obviously that makes sense. No, perfect.
So Jacob never learns the angel's name, but names him Penuel, meaning the face of God, and will later say, "I have wrestled the face of God." So he's he's cutting a promo.
Pretty
Still,
much, yeah.
He's cutting a Terry Funk promo. It's like, Penuel, I know I said I'd beat you in a loser leaves Canaan match, but
love it.
Okay. Jacob and Esau meet on the battlefield, but Jacob has no intention to fight. He makes offers of animals and camels. Upon seeing his brother's massive family, Esau is impressed by all the fucking Jacob has done and lets bygones be bygones.
Yeah, the original pussy move. And it's originally just like, oh, I didn't know you were gonna come all strong with people and stuff, dude. You know what, man? I'm not gonna fight you.
Yeah,
I'm just, fuck this.
Esau is a beta male, and he is intimidated by the sheer alpha-ness of Jacob.
Yeah, he saw the alphaness. That was sorry, that was bad. Continue.
Well, we get to one of my favorite books of the Bible for just how fucked up it is. That is the story of Dinah or Dina.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Jacob's daughter Dinah gets raped by a prince because, by the way, the Bible also kind of makes this like this is her own fault because she likes to hang out in the city and not the country where the good folks down.
Jesus Christ.
The prince enjoyed the raping so much, he asks Jacob if he can marry the daughter. And Jacob says yes, as long as you and all your relatives get circumcised. So don't you hate it when you rape a girl and then you're like, you know what? I could do some more of that. Let me go talk to her dad. Just imagine him going to talk to knock my headphones out. Going to talk to Jacob and then going back to his boys. Because again, not just he has to be circumcised, they all have to be circumcised. Right. And I just imagine a Grease like, guys, I just met and then raped the coolest chick. Oh well, oh well, oh well. Tell me more, tell me more. Did she struggle for long? Yeah. By the way, y'all have to get your dicks clipped.
Tell us more.
What?
What was? Tell me more about. What do you mean? Tell me more about that. Seriously, what was? Tell me more about that. No, don't stop saying. Tell me more about the dick clipping. What is it?
Yeah.
Could you just gotta get your dick clipped. Tell me. He just goes right. But that pussy was great. Yep. Boo boo doo.
So that's the very end of the song where he gets clipped like those summer. No, my dick tip. God, again, just imagine
the dick tips float off in the car.
Everybody, buy foreskin. Oh God, I really, again, just to think, again, this as a book of morality, like where, and not only that, but it's like your cousin. So imagine you're at Thanksgiving and your cousin comes, so I'm like, hey Neil, how you doing? Like, oh, hey buddy, or the cousin that you can't stand. He's like, hey, I totally raped this chick last week. Like, okay.
Well, actually, back then it'd be like, yeah, dude, we're all raping chicks. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like, it would have been, but yeah, of course.
This motherfucker thinks he's the only one out there raping. Like, nah, but this was like really good raping. So I talked to her dad. Long story short, you need to get your foreskin cut off.
Yeah. That would be, yeah. Huh? Sorry. It's like, yeah, you just be like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Just, I don't know, yo. Cousin Dum Dum over here is being ridiculous. You go to your mom. I imagine you'd have to go to somebody, but there's no one to go to in these times. You just have to get it. So does he have to convince him or anything? I don't think so, right? He's just kind of like the men agree. Yeah, they're just like,
if I had to get my dick clipped every time one of my fucking cousins did something asinine, I wouldn't have much left to clip.
Yeah, dude. No, it's funny because they're just like, you know what? You had us at you raped a chick.
Okay, we got all this land, so we got to fill it somehow.
What are you gonna do?
So He agrees, the prince, and his whole house gets circumcised. And this is the best part. While they're sore and recovering. So I'm
Right.
just picturing a bunch of dudes with like their dicks in like fucking coolers of ice, just like,
Right,
Prince, I hope she was worth it. Dina's brothers show up and kill them all.
Yeah.
Which is good. We get a little last house on the left. I'm sure
Yeah.
one of them does a chainsaw fight.
Oh, definitely.
But again, Jacob, who is one of the protagonists here, is pissed off at his sons because, like, oh man, you made me go back on our deal.
Right.
And this is actually used a lot of the times as kind of like apocryphal. Like, this is part of the reason the Jews are oppressed. Like, because Jacob's sons, the land, and Jacob will become known as Israel very soon. Or no, he's already Israel now, but his sons, like, you made us go, you Jewed them on our deal. It's like, and this is just a bit, and that is why the Israelites have been oppressed ever since, because Jacob thought his sons should have been more laid back with their sister getting raped.
I mean, this book just, this is highfalutin morality. This is great stuff, man. I love it.
This is the thing that a lot of Americans absolutely base their vote on.
Yeah. Well, no, this is when God was like mad a bunch. This is old God. This is like old mad God. You know what I mean?
I'm realizing people who really like tout the Bible, I don't think they've ever fucking read it. I think all of Christianity has just been clicking okay and accept like it's a fucking iTunes agreement, having no idea what's actually in it.
Yeah, dude. Because I didn't hear this story. And by then it was like Reformed, Catholics and Catholic school, like they never were like, yeah, all right, well, today we're going to be talking about the raping and let's get into it. Sometimes back, no, it was all, it was basically Jesus. They only really teach the New Testament. It is Genesis, right to the New Testament, call it a day. That is,
and not even Genesis. It's almost like they were cast out of the Garden of Eden, and then there was Cain and Abel and Noah, and then 4 weeks later Jesus came.
Yeah, pretty much. And then boom, done.
It's good. I like this director's cut they're doing right now.
It's much better.
Okay. So Jacob gets renamed Israel and immediately starts fighting with his neighbors and pissing off college freshman liberals. That's just a little gag in my notes there. Time passes. Jacob's son Reuben fucks one of Jacob's wives and gets her pregnant. This plays up later. I wasn't aware of this, but this is actually pretty cool. The phrase "give up the ghost" is right from the Bible. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. Wow.
Yeah.
There it is.
So yeah, Isaac dies. Jacob and Esau bury him. And now we get to Joseph and the amazing Technicolor dream coat.
Yeah.
This Bible is not like, they're just really promoting the fact that Joe is a flashy dresser.
Yeah, that's pretty much right. Yeah. The 11 elder brothers, right? Sell Joseph into slavery. Oh.
Yep. Again, we get a lot of that shit. All right, so Joseph is Israel's favorite son, and the other brothers hate him for that. Right. His brothers steal his fancy multicolored jacket and sell him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, which clearly some inflation by Jesus' time, as he gets betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. So go invest in silver now. Go trade in your silver jewelry at Cash for Silver. You never know when the next ironic biblical betrayal may drive up the value and speculation overnight.
Yeah. I just bought point of a stock in myrrh, so I'm doing pretty well right now, actually. So
yeah. I've actually been investing in bit frankincense.
Oh, fuck you.
Frankenbits.
I should have went to that joke. That would have been better.
Been investing in Doge myrrh. Anyway, those are all the stocks I know. Guys, book me. I'm available for bookings. They brothers dip the coat in goat's blood and show their dad, saying, I don't know, lion must have ate him. We have lions here, right? And Jacob is inconsolable. And actually, in a weird bit of actual storytelling, the Bible then leaves his character for a little bit. They actually we're going to set this up and pay it off later.
Right.
So, I actually found it interesting. Now we get to Onan, one of my favorites. If you have a boner lasting more than 4 hours, the medical condition is known as onanism. One of Jacob's sons is Judah. Judah has two sons, and Onan. The names are getting dumber as we go. Is slain by God for being wicked. Now, it's not said why, but we can only presume it was for never pretending his wife was his sister. Judah tells Onan, you can't let that pussy go to waste. Go impregnate your brother's wife, Tamar. So Onan is in a situation where he has to fuck his sister-in-law because his brother died. She doesn't have a husband. There's nothing else she can do. She needs to have children that can take care of her, or she loses all claim to inheritance. But Onan doesn't want to share the inheritance, so Onan fucks. But before he comes, he pulls out and spills his seed on the ground, and God is pissed. This is where we get the anti-masturbation line, better for thy seed to fall into the belly of a whore than on the ground. Because as we all know, God loves cum.
Yeah.
More importantly, cream pie. Don't you waste a single drop of that powerful cum, because Onan gets slayed here basically for jizzing in his sister-in-law's belly button.
Yeah. Come back then was basically like avocados now. Pretty much. So if to put that in perspective for us ages, it's just like, oh shit, well, you can't be just leaving avocados out in the ground. I mean, it's fucking bananas. You gotta put it up in that sweet woman over there, you know.
So again, just because how angry God is about this, just wasted semen, you have to imagine. So God, what are some things God hates? God hates facials.
Yeah.
God hates just blasting on titties and ass.
Of course.
Bukkake must make God weep.
Yeah. No, that's when the face of God angel comes back. He's like, what the fuck? You know.
That's why the Japanese were punished so for all that bukkake. This is terrible. I don't believe any of this, by the way. We're making fun of a very old book. Oh, so this is great. So Judah, after he loses 2 sons, so he tells Tamar, like, just be a widow. We'll take care of you. So she covers up in like widow coverings, like, you know, hiding herself. And Judah sees her later, but doesn't recognize her. And he also just catcalls her. Literally, the line is thinking she's a harlot. So his own daughter-in-law, his son died. The quote is, "Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee." Like, spitting game.
Yeah.
And she asks, "Oh yeah, well, what will you give me?" And he says, "I'll give you."
What have you done for me lately?
And he gives her his bracelets and his staffs, and then he gives her another staff. A goosh. Months later, Judah hears all about this, that there's a pregnant lady. Tamar is pregnant by whoredom. This is the quote. "She is with child by whoredom. Let's kill her." Unaware that he's the dad. When they go to kill her, she has the bracelet and the staff, and he's like, fuck. That egg on my face. I guess we won't kill you because it was me.
Hickory dickory dock. I'm gonna come inside my own stepdaughter. Oh.
Tamar came down after and looked at his staffer and said, "Hey, let me get some of that cum." Oh, a gosh.
Oh, I mean, everything I'm sure that if we were to get into the New Testament and things like that, I'm sure there's something in there, but stop doing the masturbation and stuff like that. But I don't think so. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. I don't remember, but I think this is, so some of the archaic stuff is still pulled from that. If we were like, well, again, the New Testament is like what people go by. It's like, yeah, but people, and to this day, the church still stands of like, yeah, it's actually not good to do that. So they must be getting it. And I think they get it from the Old Testament. So there's things that they're still pulling from it.
Which I always go back to Kurt Metzger's bit about that, where he talks about how, like, I was raised that, like, you shouldn't masturbate. And with the point of, like, do you have any idea what would just happen to you medically if you didn't masturbate?
Right.
I saw a video once on old efucked.com of, it literally said, like, man hasn't masturbated in 20 years. And it's literally like a gigantic, it looks like a cartoon bomb ball sack. And the dude jerks off, and it's just like fucking, like if you went to the Twinkie factory and popped the cream filling thing and just goes off like a fucking wacky water weasel.
This is not true.
No, I will show you the video later.
Medically, you don't keep making semen in your ball sack, bro.
All right,
You're an idiot. Yeah, that's not true. I'm telling you, you get topped off each time, but it doesn't like.
There's a top off?
Yeah, it just tops off. Your body stops making semen.
This is where I reveal that I masturbate too much, because I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's why we're doing this. You're going to hell. We're trying to reform you.
I've actually never had a nocturnal emission. I remember in like health class in middle school, like, oh, you're gonna have wet dreams. I don't know anybody who has ever had a wet dream that was not like assisted. That was not somehow getting molested while they slept.
Yeah, I've never. It's also weird to ask guys because I'm like 32 now, so it's kind of. Like, hey, dude, what's going on with you? You got a wet dream or no?
No,
Yeah, I haven't.
I check in on my uncle. Asks me if I have a wet dream every time I see him.
Oh, oh my god, I'm so sorry to hear that, dude. I'm so sorry. Your trauma is real.
So I'm trying to look up Bible verses about masturbation.
I think it's just this one. This is it.
Yeah, all the other ones are very like Corinthians. Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body. Oh, okay. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body.
You could interpret that as
that's just slut shaming.
But yeah.
Oh.
Or just like, just eating fast food.
That is a sin against your own body.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back to Joseph. There's some shit about Joseph being a slave in Egypt and interpreting people's dreams, which sounds a little pagan-y, but okay. I choose to ignore it because, like most stories about other people's dreams, it is very tedious. Joseph becomes Pharaoh's right-hand man, and he has the foresight to save surplus grain. And during a 7-year famine, Egypt becomes all the more powerful as they're the only ones that have saved in this time. And other nations now come to them for seed. Enough so that Joseph's brothers are sent to Egypt to buy surplus. They don't recognize Joseph, but he recognizes them and accuses them of being spies. He tells them they have a younger brother, and he demands to see him, Benjamin. But he also weirdly imprisons them for 3 days, but then releases them with camels full of grain, not only no charge, but with extra money in like their coffers. And I really don't have a lot of notes here just because this is the densest the storytelling has gotten here.
Yeah.
Because they're
well, it's back to what was it? Yeah, because they first throw him in jail. And they send him, then sending them back to Cain to retrieve his newest brother, Benjamin, like you said. They return with a boy, and Joseph continues his game, whatever, playing with a silver cup in the boy's satchel and threatening to kill the boy.
Right, yeah, he kind of frames them by planting the silver cup. Right. And then after they leave, he sends them like, get them, they stole this silver cup. And
then Judah offers his life, right, in exchange for Benjamin.
Right, because they're going to take Benjamin prisoner, and Judah insists, like, no, let my brother free. And this is enough that, like, oh, they were nice to that brother. So Joseph weeps and reveals, that's so nice that you weren't going to let me imprison your brother. By the way, I'm your brother that you sold into slavery.
Right.
I missed you guys.
And then he persuades his brothers to return to Egypt with Jacob, right? Like,
right. They go grab Jacob and they say, come back to live in Egypt because there's going to be more years of famine. So come here, all 70 of you, live in Goshen, and the Pharaoh will give them land. And Joseph and Jacob weep upon reunion.
Yeah, I still in this story, it's I don't get anything from it. I don't. Obviously, it's like you should forgive. But that's about it. Like that's the parable of the, I think. Being like,
no, the parable of this is look at the lighter side of being a slave.
Sure.
Look at the silver lining.
There is that with but I think what they try to make it into is just like, see, even again, he does bad things. And most of these actually are really, they go like, there's in terms of the same story over and over again, there's like multiple times. It's either God who's just kind of be like, do you love me? Do you fucking love me? And then you're like, I
looked through your phone and you were talking to other gods.
Yeah.
What?
Who is he? Who is he? Like, it's, you know what I mean? And
why did Osiris like your Facebook post?
Like, did I see, is that a picture with Buddha in the background? Who the fuck is that bitch? Like, you know what I mean? They're fat ass titties.
You like that now? You don't like my sweaty bosom any longer? I created you in my image. You should be thankful.
But yeah, how many times it's either like where we think that the one guy is kind of being the good person and kind of like, is he forgiving? And then he turns out to be a monster. And in this one, it's like, well, I was going to imprison him, but like, then you guys made me feel bad. So I was like, I'm sorry. It's, I think at one point 11 men present themselves to Joseph, which I love the idea of like him and having like, again, numbers being whatever, but it turns into like the Three Musketeers. Just like have men one for all and let's go rape some more.
Yeah.
They're monsters back then.
And yeah, the family was united and they celebrated by stabbing small goats and raping the third cousins.
Yes, of course. Hey, at least they're not raping the goats. You know what I mean?
You know what? If we could actually just talk a little meta for a second. So you and I both as comedians, one of the things that has come up multiple times in people discussing comedy the last few years is rape jokes and whether or not rape jokes are or are not funny. And I personally just stay away from them just because my whole take being like, yes, of course they can be funny, but you know, if you are in a big enough room, there is somebody in there who has been raped and it might not be funny to them. And though you may be able to pull it off, you're also risking, you know, really putting somebody through some psychological trauma. So if you're going to do it, try and do it really, really well. And yet here we are reading the Bible and these rape jokes are just fucking flying. And I got to admit, I'm feeling a little conflicted about it. But again, maybe the issue is on the fucking Bible having all the rape and not me referencing it.
I didn't even see a rape joke that we do. We weren't making any jokes about it in my head. Like, I'm not laughing at the idea of rape. I'm laughing at the idea that rape is very casual throughout the Bible, happens all the time. I mean, no one should be surprised, and you should admit that and know that your book is filled with just being like, no, I mean, raper, of course, you have to. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I got to put babies in this bitch, and then I got to get to getting, like, you know, it's, you know, there's land to settle. It's really,
that is one of the great, you know, I think the problem, what it comes down to is this is like the real danger of like fundamentalism and like sticking to strictly to the word. Like, I remember it always sticks out to me, the movie Religulous. I know a lot of people hate Bill Maher, but
sure.
if there's anybody in that movie who is not sympathetic, there's the guy who runs the Creation Museum in Kentucky, some Australian guy who just put together this museum that's like shows people and dinosaurs living together. He's one of those guys, like dinosaurs never existed. And
Right.
in the interview, when they're like trying to get to him, he actually says like, you know, why is this so important that like you need to have dinosaurs and man live together?
Right.
And he pretty much says like, because if it says he's Australian, like, because if you look at the Bible and say, well, this part here plainly isn't true, then why do I have to believe any of it?
Exactly. That's why I submit every time. I go like, yeah, which, and I mean, my family would hate when I talk about this. Like, my aunt is a nun, so it's not putting up this podcast, which I did. But you know, I think she's not on Facebook, but it's always kind of like, then my family's kind of like, what the fuck, you know? Hey, it's no big deal.
Must run in the family. Your aunt is a nun and her nephew's a zero.
Bam. Fuck you.
Bam.
Fuck you.
Wordplay. I'm doing crotch chops on my wordplay.
Toothless cunt.
I have teeth, just not all of them.
Oh, I hope that fucking speaker falls on your head behind you. All right. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Me and I went to visit my mom yesterday, and she was on a Zoom meeting with a psychic medium.
Does she know that her son's a whore? Keep going. Sorry.
She's well aware. She's glad that I'm
blaspheming whore.
Yes. But I was trying to be nice and I pull any, like, you know, the truth is my mom's just sad that so many people she loves are dead. So that's why she's like, I'm going to go talk to this guy who might, it's like a group thing, like 100 people sign up. And of course he does the bullshit. Like, oh, I'm seeing a man who died before his time. Surely one of you 60 people who gave money to talk to a fucking psychic, one of them's going to be missing a guy. But so I actually didn't say anything. I just let her have her little bullshit. But then while I was hanging out, my brother Luke comes over and somehow like, yeah, she was looking at that. And basically me and my brother just mocked my mother's belief by having our own conversation with each other while she just sat there and watched.
Oh shit, dude.
It's like, man, can you believe this stupid people? Not you, Mom, but those fucking morons just can't get it through their head. They're like, yeah, they're just going to be fucking worm food. Not you, Mom, just the people who believe everything you believe. But yeah, what the fuck? It was so, I feel bad. I feel like a bad son sometimes.
That's some cold turkey, baby.
Yeah. Guess what, Mom? I miss all those dead people just as much, and you don't see me getting into magic as a result.
My mother is an occupational therapist. She's going through college. I did look at her once in the eyes and went like, Mom, you know, do you actually believe that when you eat the bread and drink the wine, that it's actually the flesh of Jesus Christ? Like, that's what it says. That's what transubstantiation is. Like, I'm throwing it back in her face, being like,
wars have been fought over this.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, she's just kind of like, shut up. Like, it's goes like, hey man, I get it. And I get it that you grew up with it and it was just normal, but any critical thinking, and I know it's just, you can't give it up. Like, it's impossible. It would be.
Well, keep in
insane.
mind, like I don't know.
There's too much ritual. That's in ritual, as they call
Right.
it in like black magic and like left hand path magic and stuff like that. Like, you're in ritual, which means that it has such a higher value to
Well,
it. Anyway,
there's also something you need to consider, and I don't know how this is across the board with your mom, but I know my mother and her family in particular, like my grandmother, the bulk of her life, mass was in Latin. It was literally in a language they did not know.
Right.
And it was kept away. That was one of the reformations of John Paul in Vatican II. Like, start doing mass in the actual language. And so it's only really kind of recently, like you could have read the Bible at any point, but
the Bible would have been in Latin as well.
Exactly. But I'm saying it's only no, there was still English translations. They just weren't used in mass itself.
You have to remember, we're not using, this is even the King James. You wouldn't even have had the King James in here as well, depending on, where you're at. So in terms of the shoot off, like, people going out, Methodists and shit like that. Yeah, sure. Maybe. Yeah,
but my point being, up until very recently, at least Christianity was very much based on like, we'll tell you what it says. Don't worry about what it says. I'm going to every Sunday was like story time, and I'm going to read gobbledygook in a language you don't understand, and then I'm going to give a sermon telling you exactly what it meant. And that's where you can leave out some of the important details, like, hey, maybe the answer is if your sister gets raped and your dad's okay with it, honor thy father,
Right. Yeah. Well, and remember, you wouldn't even would have seen the altar and things like that.
They would play towards the altar itself. They wouldn't even look at the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd wouldn't even see. They really there'd be an entire blockage from there because you wouldn't be beholding.
By the way, guys, we're talking strictly Catholicism because we follow the one true religion. You go play with your fucking snakes and your Lutherans and predestination, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fine. I mean, no, you're not wrong, of course. But I mean, once it actually, it's kind of weird. You got to think about it in terms of like the priests. Then, I'm guessing, of course, they're being, they're compartmentalizing, like all the other shit. Because remember, they kind of know what it says. So I mean, they know what it says. They're studying it. They're scholars of it, and then they're disseminating it in Latin. For some people, might not even understand. And of course, the majority. And so they have to kind of be like, I kind of have a secret. Like, I know that this book is fucking bananas crazy in here. You know what I mean? Like, there's parts like that's secret knowledge. That's hence the power of the church. Like, but like they had to have some kind of thing about it. It's like, dude, you don't even know the old shit in here, bro. Like, you haven't seen that stuff. You know his new shit, but like his old shit, I can't even tell you right now. Your head would explode.
Yeah, when he was like really figuring out what he was doing, got like a little experimental.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty sweet. I think he fucking basically chilled with Bob Marley like most of the time. It's pretty sweet. It's fucking ridiculous. I think we're coming right. Jacob approach. Are we like right at where Jacob starts? I think he's about to die, right?
Yeah, and we're actually kind of wrapping up around here because Genesis kind of ends with the death of Jacob. Jacob realizes he's dying and tells Joseph, please bury him in Canaan as he promised his own father. Right. Dude, I find burial rituals, like burial requests, a very strange thing. Like I remember, all right, so we'll talk about this real quick. When my grandmother was dying, she had lung cancer and was like, I'm almost 80. I don't want to live anymore. Don't give me nothing. I'm ready to die.
Gotcha.
Her husband died 30 years before and still had her plot buried right with him. And literally a week before she died, she suddenly goes, don't put me in the ground. I don't want to be in the ground. Put me in the mausoleum. I'm like, okay, Marge, whatever. And then she dies. A month and a half later, my dad dies, and we just happen to have an open goddamn plot. So my dad is buried right on top of his dad.
Shit.
And every now and again, when I go to his grave, I will do the poetic thing, and I will just lay on top of his grave, just like, just 3 generations of firstborn drams stacked like fucking Pringles.
Stack them high, baby. Shit, that's dark. I like it.
Yeah. I actually, so here's a cool one I heard, and this one might be, all right. So my dad had a weird. We're just getting into dad talk here, but this is burial stuff. This is my father's request.
Yeah.
My dad always said that when he died, he wanted me and his brothers to cut a hunk of meat out of his ass
Jesus Christ.
and go fishing with it. This was my white trash papa's idea of like a vaguely I think his friend Paco, who was like a Native American guy, also probably a drug dealer, had mentioned this as some kind of ritual, and he really wanted us to do this. So when we're planning the funeral, and the undertaker is literally asking us like, so do you have any requests? And one of them just says like, yeah, now that you mention it, we do. So we bring that up, and he flat out says like,
DJ, you guys got any requests? I'm playing the best of the 80s.
all right, I'm gonna have Candle in the Wind, cut my ass and fish with it remix version.
yeah, really.
So the guy obviously says like, okay, we can't do that. But he does say this. He said, however, when the funeral's done, you guys will be alone with the body for a minute. So I mean, we're closing it right after. So just putting it out there. And we were going to my uncle had the knife.
Jesus.
And he was like, nah, that's okay. He ended up using a piece of my dad's dirty underwear to go fishing instead.
Oh,
Grand family.
Worse.
But we asked the undertaker, like, this has to be the weirdest request you've ever had, right? He says, actually, I have another one. And this could just be bullshit, but I think this is a beautiful story. Old man comes in. His wife had died years before. Old man comes in, and it's that part of the funeral where they're just about to close the coffin. And the guy's sons come to the undertaker, says, we need to turn over my father. What are you talking about? Like, he wants to be buried face down.
Face down? Okay.
And there's that old joke, like, bury me face down so everyone who doesn't like me can kiss my ass.
Yes.
That, you know, really dumb people who never leave their hometowns and die at 46 say.
Right.
But what he says, the kids say is, so our mother died first. And when my father found out that plots, you weren't buried side by side, you were buried one on top of the other. He requested he be buried face down because he was heartbroken thinking of having his back to his wife for all eternity.
Yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful little story? And now they're just wisps of nothing and rotting corpses, but they're looking at each other.
Yeah.
Without eyes, because they're one of the first things to rot away.
Yeah. My skull, baby. I want my skull to face your skull. Pretty much what he said.
Yeah. But me and Perry talk about this, where I keep saying like I would rather be buried, but I'm well aware that I'm marrying a Jewish girl and they're all about cremation, and I will die first, and she'll just like, I'm just gonna get him cremated.
Yeah. It's I mean that's right. I forgot you're like a traditional bra.
Non-consensual cremation. That's what's gonna happen.
All about the burial.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm all about the burial, but realistically, I would love to not be embalmed and just be buried in the dirt and have the earth consume me. Like,
Sure.
I would rather do that than be embalmed and just preserved forever.
Sounds like you really need to be murdered. Really
That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like that's what I mean.
I'm just looking for a strong man that can absorb my soul, and I can be his slave in the afterlife, like the Zodiac.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, can you schedule a murder? I think you can schedule it.
You can look into it. There's like, there's like subreddits. I'm sure I could find somebody on 4chan.
There's something.
Yeah.
Just like 80 years from now or something like that. Yeah, whatever. How old are you? 100 years old if you make it that long.
There you go.
Yeah, just schedule a murder. And just,
I want to be assassinated on my 100th birthday.
Yeah, if you think about it, cops are people are stopping you from really being happy with your burial. It's really
exactly.
It's like, leave me here. I want to.
And that's why we should have a small government and taxes theft.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Speaking of Jesus Christ.
Yes. So before dying, Jacob blesses Joseph's sons Ephraim and Manasseh, but blesses the youngest.
The shocker. Sorry.
That's right. But blesses the youngest first, which is out of protocol, mirroring Jacob the young overtaking Esau the older. Right. So again, even just in Genesis, we're seeing the storytelling evolve a little bit. Because we're coming from like literally the entire flood of Noah being told in 8 sentences. And now we're actually getting this cinematic, like, I will bless the younger as my father blessed me, the younger, over my brother.
Right. Well, and you'll find this is, I think Richard Carrier, who has, the historicity of Jesus and things like that. Like, actual, I think we talked about it last time. I might have called him a different name by accident, but it was Richard Carrier, who you can look up, who's got peer-reviewed books on the historicity of like Jesus and the Bible.
Where
And
does he come down on Jesus existing or not?
it kind of doesn't matter for him. He kind of
Mhm.
goes like, there's a lot of it. He doesn't go. He kind of points like, probably not. There's a lot of things where even if you think it was like Jesus did exist, and we can kind of say like, okay, there might have been a guy. There really is no way it is what they think it is. It is much more a
Yeah.
group of people who are having the same cult-like beliefs, who then either make a deity unto themselves so that they can keep their
Mhm.
religion going and shed off old archaic ideas that people were not wanting to deal with,
Mm.
and they were trying to get people aboard, so
Oh, so Jesus was like kind of an upgrade.
yeah, when they talk about the covenants and stuff like that, there's really just agreements that archaic people are making with themselves, whether they're receiving it from hours of prayer, not eating for days, like slipping into probably some fucking strange mind states,
Yeah.
how they're receiving it, so they're trying to get people on board, and people don't want to hear some shit. They want to hear about hope and seeing if they can save their soul and things like that,
Right.
if they even believe that, or they're being told you have a soul or whatever, and this God can deal with it. And what
Right.
are you gonna do? You don't
They're
want to be in
doing
fucking
the
afterlife like an asshole. You're
right.
gonna be somebody not in a sweet heaven in the afterlife. Dump.
Yeah, they're doing a backdoor sequel. The way like Prometheus was like, let me tell you about this great movie Prometheus. Also, it's the Alien sequel.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, go.
So Jacob calls his sons to watch him die, and he prophesies over them who will be blessed and cursed. Reuben will be mediocre, which is punishment for fucking one of Jacob's wives, as mentioned before. Simeon and Levi killed a guy and are hereby cursed. They will be separated and spread throughout the land.
I thought the Sibian just killed women in Howard Stern's
Heyo.
studio. How you doing?
Bluto went on to become a senator and married the cheerleader chick. Good for him. Good for him. His kids are known as the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob ends his speech by lifting his legs onto the bed and immediately dying like a drama queen. They embalm him and eventually send him back to Canaan to be buried.
Right.
Joseph brothers apologize for the whole sold you into slavery thing, but Joseph forgives them, saying it was God's plan and wrought such great good as this moment here. Eventually, Jacob dies at 110 years old and is buried in Egypt. The moral of this Bible story: look at the silver lining of slavery and quit being a grumpy Gus.
Yeah, pretty much. I do. Oh man, there's a couple of times when they're just like they'll mention somebody real quick, and then and they lived on 30 years, and you're just like, damn, dude, you died at like 5. Because he definitely was not 110. Obviously, it's ridiculous. We don't know how they're calculating those years and things like that, but because we know that from historical data, of course. Like even 100 years ago, our life expectancy was much lower.
Well, I could almost see that as kind of like that weird American bullshit where they always try to fabricate a fake past where everything was better.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's like, well, back then, like, and I've heard people actually say it's like, before we had like GMOs, people lived to like 800 years in the Bible. Like, yes, that's what they lived to 800 years in the Bible, back before they had cancer screening or insulin or penicillin. Yeah.
But what's more likely that maybe they're doing counting different, or we're all dying soon and we don't get to live 800 years, nothing, because you're not a crab. And
well, not with that attitude, you're not.
What's more likely? You know what I mean? Of course. I just love it though. Every once in a while you read just like Shalabalav and only lived 30 years. Like, oof, man, they just bowled over him. What did you even do?
That's the other thing, is that so many of these guys in this book that are just like straight up fucking all the time, they're in their 90s.
Yeah. Joseph, I love it in here. This is like a little thing. It's like Joseph eventually dies. You're saying doesn't he pop up his feet? Or that was Jacob. I'm thinking Jacob. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Jacob. Jacob gives his speech, lifts up his legs into bed, and dies
by the Egyptians. Yeah. And then Joseph buries his father in Canaan, right?
Right, like he requested.
Right.
And then he cuts off a chunk of his ass and goes fishing in the Dead Sea, and then the Dead Sea has no fish in it. So then he dies.
And then he's
Fishing.
talking about, the Israelites onto Egypt, and they grow rapidly. They're fucking, right? And Joseph eventually dies, right? Instructing his family to return one day to the land of God as promised to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yeah. And that's it for Genesis.
Yeah, that's the whole kit and caboodle there.
Yeah.
I'm none the wiser.
No.
Nope, not a touch. Nothing at all. I wouldn't want my kids to read this. This is bad.
Yeah. No, this would be rated NC-17.
Yeah.
Like fucking torture porn.
And no, and people would, and again, and I want to say this, as a cult would, they'd be like, well, no, of course they wouldn't understand it. We have to then kind of almost groom them to understand what it means. Like, rape, that's not important. Look at over here. It's like, yeah, man. Yeah. No, I got it. I get it. You're grooming me. That's what this is. No, I know it hurts probably most of my family's feelings, but they also don't read this. My aunt has read it. My aunt has read it multiple times and but she knows it's bananas. She's an academic, if anything. She's an academic, but she knows it's bananas. And it's one of those things where she's also somewhat kind of strange because she's more like spiritual. Like I don't see, she is a Catholic nun, but I don't see her that way at all. Like she honors Native American culture because she understands like, oh yeah, well that's what I don't get. She understands Native American some like burial rituals and things like that. She's because again she's had ties to like the land of like like we weren't here and it's messed up and we should honor some things. So she's done some things of just like at burial for one of my uncles and stuff like that. He wanted like sage burning and had a Native American friend of her come over and do like so. But I'm like, okay, so wait, do you think I want to get down to brass tacks? I don't think she cares anymore. She goes like, yeah, this is whatever. God is. She's become so religious that eventually it became like, I think everything is God. You know what I mean? It just went. It has to go abstract. It has to go.
Like I said, that's kind of where my mom went. Where now she's like, particularly when she got into like recovery from addiction shit, where they are just like panoply of all like whatever the fuck you need. Like I remember the first time my mom met my fiance, we were just walking around and she wandered over to like a guy selling books on the street and bought a book on Buddhism. I'm like, Ma, you're going to hell. What's up with that? Like, I'm not going to hell. I'm trying to learn. Like, that's not what happened. That's not what they said at the CCD class you fucking sent me to for 8 years.
Yeah. But again, I mean, people are fighting, dying over this shit currently, this day, about what religion you need to be. And I don't know. And I also don't like the ambiguity. I go the hard into the other stuff of like, God is everything. It's like, that's a pretty thing to say. I know, but also is he? Didn't you do some things again? But anyway, it's I would definitely check out Richard Carrier and his stuff. He's got a lot of books on it. If I butchered even some of the things, whatever, bill me. Check him out. Great YouTube videos and stuff like that of him doing lectures of like how he does it to promote his books and things. Check it out. It's very interesting, and you get to like hear and like actually see documents. Like that's the thing. We're reading this, but he goes like, this is an early found in what is now modern day France, document that points towards a culture that was living it's really, really cool. So
I like the historicity shit, so I should look into it a little bit.
It's really good.
Thanks as always for being on the show, buddy. We'll be back next time with Exodus. Again, I'm wondering how many books of the Bible are going to be named after bands, because Genesis is obviously Genesis. Exodus is there's a thrash metal band called Exodus.
Sure.
And I don't know. There's got to be a Deuteronomy out there somewhere.
There's got to be a Deuteronomy.
Remind us, where can we find you on social media? Where should we?
I'm super easy. I am Neil Wood. .com. You can go there. Yeah. Big slut. You can go there and get down with whatever I got going on. There's tons of stuff on there. Go check out, podcast links, get you over to Drop 10 too. So all the stuff is there. I am neilwood.com. That easy.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys know where to find me on all the shit at jessedraham. Send me an email at jessedraham@gmail.com. Tell me I'm going to hell. You're not telling me anything I haven't screamed in a mirror while weeping. Okay.
Don't read this book.
Yeah. Thumbs down.
Yeah. What would be your rating if you had in closing, if you were giving it just Genesis, that book, what would be your rating as someone who reads a ton?
I would give this 1 out of 10 sisters, not my wives.
but those are my favorite sister wives.
Those are the best. Yeah. Especially when it turns out that quite a few of them are actually, well, but she's my half sister. Like, oh,
Listen,
but I did marry her.
I'm looking for guys flush with maidens. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever about the wives, but as long as these wives got flush maidens, I'm in.
That's right. Like I said, that's what this book is. This book is GQ. It's selling you a religion with just hot rockin' Jew tits left and right. And like, come on, man, don't you want this? Buy this watch, follow this religion, snip your dick tip off.
Keep it moving. There it is. I love it. Good ending.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm gonna stop recording then, but we're done. Later. Oh wait, I almost hit end. Fuck.